falsehoods that Christianity is based on. Today's falsehood is the original sin was a true story. The verses that defend original sin. You may eat of the any tree of the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. Definition of the knowledge of good and evil. Knowledge of everything through the mental capacities which led to human culture, moral capacities, sexual knowledge since the man and woman recognize the nakedness on eating the fruit. Now we tear this thing apart. First of all, Adam and Eve were not immortal before the fall. They had to eat and consume food to live. Food is a living cell. If Adam and Eve were truly immortal, they would not need to eat. This debunks that Adam and Eve was immortal before the fall. Refuting original sin. If Eve had the knowledge of good and evil before the fall, she would not need to touch the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The fact that she ate from the fruit of knowledge of good and evil indicates that she did not have the knowledge of good and evil. Here's the verse that defends this point. Then their eyes were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they took fig leaves together and made covering for themselves. This takes the blame off of Adam and Eve, and the original sin thing goes back to Yahweh Jehovah. He failed to give them the knowledge of good and evil from the beginning. We have ourselves a logical dead end. How can Adam and Eve obey a commandment like in Genesis 2:16? You are free to eat from any tree of the garden, but you must not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil without the knowledge of good and evil. Without the knowledge of good and evil. Okay, without the knowledge of knowing what's right and wrong, Adam and Eve cannot have the blame for this. Again, it goes back to Yahweh Jehovah, assuming that he's real. He fails to give them the knowledge of good and evil. There is nothing in Genesis 2 that says that they were given the knowledge of good and evil before the fall. Because of this logical dead end, it makes God, Yahweh Jehovah, responsible for sin. If men are born with a sinful nature, who is to blame? Certainly it's not the sinner, for they had no need. They were not born of sinful nature. The Creator is fully responsible for what happened between Adam, Eve, the snake, and everything that happened in the garden. It shows Yahweh Jehovah's true colors. Yahweh Jehovah becomes cruel and unjust. According to this doctrine, innocent babies are born with sinful nature, and because their nature, they are subject to damnation. Can anything make Yahweh Jehovah more cruel and unreasonable? Humans know it to be cruel and unjust to condemn them for nature which they have nothing to do with. They know that Yahweh Jehovah will be a tyrant and his government tyranny if this grotesque doctrine was true. Join me next time as I tear apart Yahweh Jehovah's salvation plan. Because it's not perfect, but you need to find out and see why it's not perfect. Rate, comment, subscribe. Later.